On December 4th, 1960, President Eisenhower and the American people received the gift of a rare white tiger named Mohini. For years, Mohini lived in the Washington Zoo and spent her days pacing back and forth in a 12 by 12-foot cage. Finally, the zoo decided to build her a larger outdoor enclosure so Mohini could run, climb, and explore. But when she arrived at her new home, she didn't rush out. Rather, she marked the 12 by 12-foot square for herself and paced there until her death, never enjoying the opportunities in front of her. In the words of Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz, our brains are hardwired to reject transitions. We are conditioned to resist new challenges and remain within our comfort zones. On these days of the High Holy Days, the shofar inspires us to free the Mohini inside and move beyond our boundaries. The sounds encourage us to explore the cages in which we reside, and literally and figuratively to think outside the box about how we might embrace changes for our future. Today, as we begin 5,781, we confront a lot of changes. Our first High Holy Day is watching on the screen, sitting on our couches, outside, or at our tables. We have created our own personal sanctuaries. Our new senior rabbi, associate rabbi, and cantor stand on this bima. Our choir, with its familiar melodies, is not here to lead us in prayer. There is a great sense of loss during these High Holy Days. I feel it too. I missed welcoming people to our congregation, giving hugs and greetings to congregants, some whom I haven't seen in a long time. Change is often uncomfortable, sometimes hard, sad, and even scary. And of course, how we experience these High Holy Days is far from the only changes that we have faced this past year. We have changed the way we live, the way we shop, the way we work, the way we learn, and the way we interact with our family, friends, and strangers. We have changed the way we celebrate graduations, B'nai Mitzvah, weddings, and holidays. We have changed the way we mourn. We've had changes in our employment and our financial situations. We've had changes in our families, death of loved ones, divorce, and new babies. And I am navigating change too. Becoming the senior rabbi at Temple Emanu-El under normal circumstances would be challenging. Under these circumstances, I'm not sure if there's a word to describe it, or at least one that I can say from the bima. To be honest, at times I have been overwhelmed, uncertain, and challenged. At times I'm confident. At other times, I'm less so. I know many of you have had similar feelings. Throughout these past 6 months, as well as during other life-changing events in the past. When we confront changes in our lives, it can be overwhelming. It can paralyze us, and it can affect our relationships with others and how we handle ourselves. The question during these high holy days is, how do we ensure that these changes don't paralyze us? How can we reflect on what was, mourn as needed, and then keep moving forward? Change is built into these high holy days. Only one needs to look at the word for year in Hebrew, Shana, and then the verb for change in Hebrew, Shana. It's the same. The high holy days remind us that every year we go through this annual transition. The season provides us a time to reflect upon the narratives of our lives. It's about recognizing that nothing in the world is static, and that success is built upon our ability to embrace the constant changes in our lives and to get out of the cages that might hinder us from moving forward. In our High Holy Day liturgy, we read Hayom Harat Olam. While most prayer books translate these three words as, "Today the world is born," Rabbi Cantor Angela Buchdahl takes a closer look and reveals new possibilities. Hayom simply means today. Olam, as we know, can mean world. We're familiar with Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. But Olam can also mean eternal or forever, as in the phrase Le'olam Va'ed. And Harat, usually translated as born, comes from the Hebrew word for pregnancy, herayon. So when we put all those words together, we can translate Hayom Harat Olam to today is pregnant with eternal possibilities of creation. Hayom Harat Olam. Today is pregnant with the eternal possibilities of creation. Throughout our history, we Jews believed in these words. When the Second Temple was destroyed in 70 CE, the rabbis traveled to the coastal town of Yavne to recreate Judaism. Without the temple, there was no sacrifices, no central space to practice our religion. The rabbis mourned the destruction of the temple, but then looked at the opportunity to adapt and relocate Judaism to the home and the synagogue. Judaism's religious language became prayer, Torah study, and mitzvot. The Pesach sacrifice became the home-based Seder, and the daily sacrifices became the Amidah. Hayom Harat Olam. Today is pregnant with the eternal possibilities of creation. We are having our Yavne moment, Rabbi Jeffrey Salkin writes. We are experiencing a transformation, perhaps as deep and as pervasive as the moments when the ancient temple gave way to the synagogue. Like the rabbis at Yavne, we are renegotiating where Judaism happens. Just as the loss of Jewish sovereignty moved the sanctity of Jewish practice to the Jewish home, to the Jewish table, the symbolic remnant of the ancient altar to the synagogue, the coronavirus has at least temporarily moved Judaism out of the synagogue. We are now in a cyber Yavne. Across the United States and beyond, synagogues are temporarily closed, moving their core operation services and classes to Facebook, Zoom, and other platforms. Judaism is temporarily not in the synagogue. Judaism is now in the cloud, which, let the record note, is a biblical euphemism for God. At Temple Emanu-El, we have just done just this. We have experienced change, and let it help us to see the possibilities of creating something new. While not always perfect, and certainly not the same as being together in person, we have navigated our current reality. From Zoom b'nai mitzvahs and virtual weddings, to different mourning practices and marking the holidays, to drive-bys and phone trees, we have looked for opportunity to remain connected, to be creative, to confront the changes. We will most certainly continue to face more changes in the months and years to come. But my hope is that we confront the unknown obstacles with an open mind to try new things. We are doing that these high holidays. We've added new services, including a cemetery service on Monday to remember our loved ones, a shofar program later this afternoon, and a healing service on Yom Kippur. And we plan to continue to invent and develop over the year. Will everything be great? Probably not. But we see opportunities in this coming year, and we hope that you take part in them. Help us plan them, connect with each other and our community. Help us find and be a part of the eternal possibilities in our community. And it's not only at Temple Emanu-El where we faced change and reacted by seeing the possibility of creating something new. 5,780 is a year that many of us are no doubt looking forward to leaving behind. Our lives, in one way or another, have been filled with real uncertainty, forced changes, and chaos. But unlike the tiger Mohini, when distances we traveled were restricted, we looked for new opportunities to connect and to create. I witnessed and heard so many stories of our Temple Emanu-El family creating or trying something new in the face of all these changes. Sewing countless masks for healthcare workers, family, and neighbors, finishing puzzles and books that had piled up on our nightstands, learning how to bake bread, cooking new foods, or creating a sourdough starter, practicing an instrument that had been collecting dust in the corner, reconnecting with family and friends on the phone, finding time for meditation and self-care, beginning the practice of lighting Shabbat candles each week, attending services or Bible class more regularly, recognizing our own flaws and forgiving ourselves more easily. May we continue to address the changes we face in the coming year with the mindset of new creation. Hayom Harat Olam. Today is pregnant with the internal possibilities of creation. Today births new intentions, conceives new possibilities. Today, our choice will gestate the future for us, for our children, and for our children's children. May it be a year when we can break the cages that constrict our movements. May the year birth new intentions, conceive possibilities. May it be a good year of change. Hashanah Tovah.